can't get our army over there. How annoying. Oh, we can. Nice. Yeah, what do you guys think? For the glory and honor of Planet, we go into this battle. For the glory and honor of Planet Express. The music is telling me, guys. The music is telling me. Let's do it. Deep in the desert, the pikes of the Seleucids will try their hardest. Even though outnumbered, their quality will shine through. Hey, how's it going, guys? My name is Jackie Fish and welcome back to another Divide Et Impera battle from the head-to-head between me and Republic of Play, which we stream every single Wednesday at 3 PM GMT. So make sure you tune in next week as things are only getting crazier and crazier. Also, let me know what you guys think of the little intro I did. I took some clips from the actual live stream itself so you guys have a little bit of a better idea about where this battle is taking place and, you know, a little bit more about the setup and the armies. So just let me know if you guys want me to keep on doing that, as I think it'll be a nice way to kind of tie the two parts of the live stream and these battles together a little bit more. So yes, we have delved deep into Arabia and I'm kind of at my ends tether with Arabia. It's just so long, it's so much attrition everywhere, and this was kind of like a Hail Mary. If we win this battle, we basically cripple the majority of the Arabian states. And if we lose, then it's just like whatever, I'll come back with some cheap armies and just try and overrun them with numbers. However, this battle takes a pretty bad turn for me. We're outnumbered by about 2,000 men, I think, and we're fighting the town garrison. However, for some reason, it has deployed me next to the town, meaning the town garrison that's going to come out and defend this army, which I'm fighting, comes on behind me, which is actually really, really bad for me, because not only that, my navy is actually coming on all the way over here. So, you know, with the reinforcements of my navy, I'm outnumbered by about 1,500 men, which isn't that bad. However, this navy is going to take a very, very long time to reinforce, and I need these soldiers. I need them desperately, because quite quickly Darren's army is going to come flying over here, and this really took me off guard in this battle. I was not expecting the AI army, or Darren, because Darren's commanding the AI army. I was not expecting their reinforcements to come on behind, because this is a huge garrison as well. This is a lot of men, and not something I can just quite easily wipe away. So yeah, these guys completely took me off guard, and it was really, really painful to have to turn around, because not only that, my army wasn't in position for it, and, you know, Darren has a full stack army just hiding over out of my line of sight, obviously going to be marching towards me at full force. So, you know, quite quickly, I'm going to be fighting two armies, like outnumbered probably about 2,500 men, until my navy turns up and lands. And even then, we're going to be fighting a pretty dangerous battle, because, I mean, just look at the amount of soldiers here. And for the most part, my infantry isn't the best in the world. I've got some of the Arabian units myself, and then I also have a ton of these Furios, these are the Furios ones, not the Forax ones, the Furios infantry, which are not that good. They're 300-man units. They're okay, don't get me wrong, but they're not anything like crazy. They're not going to cut through like the late tier Forax sword infantry. You know, they're gonna do okay, but nothing too special. And, you know, Darren has a lot of javelins coming in as well, immediately hitting me. So, you know, this has really been not a great start to the battle, and as I said, if I lose this engagement, it basically puts the campaign on Arabia on hold for like the next, you know, 20 to 25 turns, which is just crazy. That's like 2 streams, maybe even 3 or 4 streams. So yeah, it was a pretty crazy battle, and this really, really put me on the back foot at the beginning of the engagement, because as you can see, my forces, you know, my majority of my pike line are just arriving to this fight. You know, it's not going to be here in time. So, you know, I'm basically fighting a huge, huge force right now with hardly anything in my roster. The majority of my slingers aren't really shooting quite yet. My navy obviously isn't here. And Darren's going to be here with a lot of cavalry very, very soon. So this deployment completely fucked the way my elite army works. It really, really did. And it was a pretty unfortunate start. However, you know, I am the Seleucids. I have a good general. My men are very, very elite. So all hope is not lost, and don't think the battle is going to be over. And let me tell you, this is one insane battle. It goes down to the wire. It's extremely, extremely close. You can get some nice little close-ups there of the battle. Oh yeah, also in this engagement, I'm pretty sure my men are actually a little bit wounded. Yeah, I'm pretty sure my army had taken a tick of attrition as well, so we weren't actually at full strength. But right now, the battle is going to kick off. I'm just trying to rush over my pikemen as fast as I can. You can see my general is really depleted, down to 40 men at the beginning of the engagement. I'm basically just trying to form up. Like, I don't want to have to box up, but there's very little I could do. Obviously, my battle plan is you get some mob around my back. My battle plan originally was to form up and have my navy support my flanks and kind of really protect that side. However, you know, having the navy still so far away at this point in the battle, which is like really goddamn bad, is just racking up. And again, my pikes are still so far away. I was expecting his reinforcements, like I was expecting the map just to flip and his reinforcements to come on over here, because that's what generally happens in these battles, is his camel archers pick off some extra casualties onto my already heavily depleted cavalry. However, I'm going to come in here. I really want to try and break these peasant mobs just to get rid of the envelopment morale debuff that's happening. However, Darren is just using his numbers extremely well, and because I'm so out of position from the beginning, he's able to abuse these flanks. I can't really do much about it, and I'm just quickly having to like constantly envelop in. You can see his other army is starting to come into view. This is a full stack force that is slowly starting to come into view, and again, my navy is still nowhere near. I think I can land like around here. The problem is I don't want to land. Like, I could maybe land here, but I think that I'll quite quickly get hit by his infantry. Here's like an entire army here we just can't see quite yet. Like, I don't want to land along this straight right here, because he will just, you know, envelop this navy as soon as it comes off. So I'm going to have to waste more time getting over here to try and support myself. I definitely could, looking back at this battle, have moved my formation down, but in the heat of the moment, it's almost impossible to do that, you know. We're controlling these huge 40-unit armies. You know, there is so much at stake in these battles. You know, like, the decisions have to be made literally in that split second, and if you do something wrong, that's just a mistake you're going to have to live with. Yeah, right now things are pretty brutal. I'm trying to use my slingers just to get rid of all of his cavalry, because, you know, gaps will appear in my battle line pretty heavily, and you can see a lot of these missiles are coming down and just hitting my Lancer cavalry. You know, these guys are pretty low, so I'm okay trading them out. I'm just hoping that my slingers can do some decent damage. Again, he's just like constantly caving in my formation in this battle. He's got so many men surrounding this one unit of Arabian infantry, and they've only got 50 morale. I'm super surprised that they're still able to hold up in this fight and keep on, you know, pushing them back. But my units are dying. Luckily, my navy is arriving soon, but so is Darren's secondary army. And yeah, things are not looking great for me at this current moment. However, if I can launch my navy down, if I can get them to get stuck in, then maybe there's a chance, because my infantry here will win against his spears. I just need to bide myself a little bit more time along this front line. You know, my units will win. It's just I don't have enough units to constantly keep on fighting, and Darren's doing a great job at just harassing me. He now has his missiles in range as well. A lot of these Arabian bowmen who are just going to be focusing down my missiles really heavily. And again, there's not really much I can do about it. I don't have the manpower. I don't have the range to do stuff. And he's just constantly abusing these gaps, finding the holes in my formation, which I just don't have enough men to hold. And it's constantly shrinking my formation. Like, I'm constantly realizing I have no positions. He's trying to pick off my general a little bit as well with his missile fire. There's nowhere really for my general to go right now, which sucks, but it's just kind of has to be that way. He managed to get a nice cavalry charge in here, and I realized if my missiles break, it's probably going to cause a mass rout in this engagement. So I charge my general in. He's down to like 39 high passers, and they're just diving in against the camels. All glory or nothing. Luckily, finally, my navy is arriving. It's just taken far too long, and these guys needed to be here like 5 minutes earlier. It really is such a bitch that these guys didn't turn up with the rest of my army, because if they were here, things would have been so goddamn different. They really would have been. But they are going to launch now onto the beach, which is a saving grace, right? I need it. I mean, let's just take a little look at this battle, right? I need it. My entire formation is enveloped. There is basically nothing I can do. I've got some good setup here with my pikes, but even my pikes are getting pounded by his infantry. You can see they're managing to find their ways around the side. I'm in really broken formations. His archers are just hammering away. And my pikes, you know, even though they are holding him in place, he just has so many numbers. It just doesn't matter. And again, there's not really much I can do. Normally, these pikes would be heavily supported by the navy. But that's one of the awesome things about these head-to-heads, is things don't go as planned, and you have to adapt, and you have to try and make the best of a bad situation. So I'm pretty lucky in the fact that my general managed to fight off his unit of his unit of camels. However, you know, that missile fight is starting to rack up kills on my general, and that is pretty painful. But yeah, right now I'm rushing these guys over. Unfortunately, these guys were a pretty small navy. These are only 60-man marines, so they're not like amazing. But again, it will definitely make a big difference. And I believe it's this unit. I think it's this unit. This unit's actually really, really good. It's actually top tier for the Arabian factions, and we'll definitely see why. It holds out for a long time. It's a hybrid missile unit. I'm able to get some good javelins off to try and soften them up a little bit. But yeah, this is a very scary unit that holds me back for a long time. And right now you can see I'm just trying to land as many units as possible as my formation just tries to hold firm. Obviously, the battle lines like around here doing pretty good. But, you know, his numbers are just heavily throwing against me. And again, I think he's got 4 units of these guys. And they were literally what, you know, really hammered me in this battle. You know, my pikes are doing a great job. You know, he is focusing them down with missiles, but at least it is keeping him at bay and pushing him back. And in pike wall, the missiles don't do that crazy against them. Obviously, the phalanx is designed to deflect missiles. However, you know, consistent firing on them is going to wound them and bring them down. But it's buying me time for my slingers to focus down some other stuff, try and kill enemy front lines. And I am starting to win. You know, my superior infantry is doing a very nice job on this front line. But remember, this was the town garrison I was fighting on this part of the map. And they've done amazing. Like, they've held me up for his reinforcements to arrive. They're holding back some of my reinforcements over here, which is pretty deadly. Like, they've done a very, very, very good job in this battle. And my men are tiring. They really are. That missile fire is actually racking up a lot of kills on my pikes. But there's nothing I can do about it, right? I have to just keep on holding firm. I'm returning some fire now. But the problem is even these guys are firing with their missiles as well, which is just so deadly. This elite unit is amazing. It really is super strong. My Marines have mainly made it up here. The archers are helping out massively, picking off some more of these men. The Marines are getting stuck in with all honor and glory, and they're cutting their way through the enemy infantry, but it's just taking a long time. And, you know, my main front line still hasn't really been lifted. I believe Darren does still have plenty of cavalry still left remaining. Actually, maybe I've killed his cavalry at this point. It looks like I have killed his cavalry. And you can see, you know, the envelopment has kind of been lifted, but not really. I'm still being hammered from every side in the north of position. My Marines are rushing over, but it's taking me time to launch them off. And one of the reasons I didn't really want to get these archers off is because of if he had any cavalry still left remaining. But I am winning slowly. You know, I am taking down a handful of his infantry. Getting my missiles off this boat is going to be really useful at dealing with his archers. I brought my general, I believe, all the way out here, which is going to be super helpful. And the Marines are just diving in. But Darren has a nice set of reserves. There's 4 units of really elite infantry. Or at least there's only 4 of them in that. There's 2 of them in that unit. Yeah, it's these guys right here, supported by some more lighter infantry who are moving in. And some Arabian tribesmen as well. They don't seem very good, but they are 200-man units, so they're probably pretty decent. And just holes are appearing. I'm having to fall back, seeing that my men who are completely enveloped up here, there's no way that they hold for much longer, right? They're going to break. These spearmen, you know, aren't Thorax, you know, they're Forias. Or maybe it's the other way around. Maybe they're Thorax and not Forias. Either way, they're the mid-tier infantry. And they're just not good enough. I get stabbed right through the stomach. And you can see my morale is dropping and my men are being slaughtered. So I'm having to give ground, you know. Again, my pikemen are doing a good job. This unit isn't even in pike, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, you know, it's just so many gaps. Darren is using his numbers really effectively and is coming into the back of my units. Again, you know, these are still elite, you know, men. They're pretty decent. So there is still some hope as my Marines are breaking through. I've got my archers over here as well just to try and finish him down. At this point, I'm really trying to just take away his numbers in this battle. So I'm using my missiles to kill his missiles. And all my infantry is running through. And you know, you can see a lot of my slingers are retreating back to the wood line here. I'm getting more archers in on this battle. And what I really should have done is, like, because I've never really fought the Arabians before, I should have seen this unit, like, next time I know that this unit is really good, and I'll kill it with missiles. right now I don't really have the missiles to focus this down. The next time I definitely will look out for them units for sure. And I'm making some progress in the center, but just look at this. My line is constantly being hammered, and unfortunately my Marines who are reinforcing just aren't a match to deal with the Haya, I think is how you pronounce that. These guys are just amazing. You want to take a look at their stats as well. You know, they've got 19 melee defense, 10 melee attack, which is pretty decent. Above average weapon damage. Their base morale is pretty decent. And they have some good missiles as well. This is a solid unit. Going up against my unit, it's just not really going to be able to break through them. And I just don't have the numbers. You know, there's 200 of them compared to the 60 of my Marines. And my morale is dropping. I believe my general is going to die in a second, which is just a crushing blow for my faction. I was really just trying to break this unit because, look, right now it's holding up, you know, such a large portion of my army that I'd free up, you know, 2 very important units to push forward. And unfortunately, they just weren't quick enough. And these smaller groups of Marines just aren't enough. My pikes are trying to get stuck in, but obviously, you know, Darren is going to avoid fighting them at all costs. Look at that. It looks like it's funny, they're running side by side. But yeah, Darren is obviously just going to avoid fighting them as best as he can. And, you know, my numbers just aren't doing good enough. My range is being really useful, and I'm actually using my rangers to focus down some of his infantry. I can definitely still win this battle if I just cause a mass rout, and that, you know, requires me killing his general. That requires my front line not being overrun, and unfortunately, these Furio infantry just don't have the staying power to do it. You know, more gaps appearing as much as I try my best to move in my pikes to reinforce this area. It's just not enough. And Darren is going to be able to break me this battle. My front line is dwindling. He just has far too many numbers. Also, my general ended up dying, unfortunately. I think he died around about 23 men, which really sent a shockwave throughout my force in this battle. My rangers are still doing very, very good. But, you know, it's just not enough. You can see my front line is just dwindling. He still has so many reinforcements. And especially as soon as this flank breaks again, throwing in some of them really good Haya infantry. It's just going to send my my pikes down as they sustain a lot of casualties. They really fight so poorly, and they're already exhausted as well from the initial fight. And that is basically going to be the battle. Unfortunately, you are watching my last stand in Arabia. One of the things that really hurt me in this battle, though, was the fact that my Marine General ended up dying on like basically 3/4 strength. I think he had around about 100 men left, and he ended up dying, which was super unlucky. That definitely affected how well my Marines were fighting, which sucked so goddamn much. So yeah, that sucks. Darren managed to take that W in this battle, which is really, really good for him. I was just completely, you know, taken over by the AI. Yeah, you know, I initiated the battle on the campaign map. The AI should have spawned in front of me, and because they surrounded me basically from the get-go, my pikes were not in formation here. You know, my pikes were so far away from my front line that he could have just come in, like he came in, and I couldn't just deal with this. If I had pikes up here holding him in place, maybe that would have been enough, but yeah, my formation was just a complete mess at the beginning of the battle because of that envelopment, which we were just not expecting whatsoever. As that's not how it was on the campaign map. So yeah, it just really, really sucked. The fact that my navy was so far away from this army as well really, really hurt us. I think if we were able to form up as a united force, we would have wiped the floor with Darren's army. Well, not wiped the floor, but we would have definitely have had the advantage going into it. Unless Darren could conjure something great and I made a big mistake, I think we would have won this battle pretty convincingly, if I'm honest. Because the Marines coming in would have been able to hold back a lot of his infantry. My pikes would have been heavily supported. My missiles would have been able to rack off, you know, their slings at a pretty decent distance. The cavalry still would have been an issue, but I think I could have dealt with the cavalry with just, you know, reinforcements and stuff. So yeah, it was a real shame. And at this moment, I basically only just have my missiles left. There's no real, you know, stand whatsoever. You know, as you can see, Darren didn't really have much left. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, look how little Darren really had left at the end of this battle. If I would have been able to form up, we could have dealt with this, I think. Because again, you've got to remember as well, my ships had a lot of archers on them. These weren't just like, you know, 60-man archers. These were like 100-man archer units. Some of these guys are 170 as well. Like, they would have done amazing. Like, I would have been able to win the range fight. My infantry would have been very solid. I would have been able to have reserves to worn off his cavalry, things would have looked very, very decent for me, I think. And it was just a shame of a battle. Darren obviously played extremely well, though. I don't want to make it sound like I'm bitching about anything too much. It was just unfortunate. But yeah, Darren played very well, using them gaps, enveloping me, hitting me with his cavalry. It was just a very, very close battle. And I think, stuff like that is great to have in these head-to-heads, It's kind of like, the Arabians outwitted me. It said on the campaign map it was going to be kind of one way with the reinforcements coming on, kind of, because I was expecting his army to be in front of me. Well, I was expecting his army to be like here, and then his reinforcements to come on from like here. But instead, I was over here instead. My boats are really far away, like middle of the battle. But looking back on that battle, some of the things that I could have done differently was like, obviously I just did not expect his reinforcements to come on, but maybe what I could have done is I could have advanced a lot further forward, expecting my ships, because I saw when my ships were coming on. I just expected I had a lot of time to reform up. Maybe what I could have done is I could have formed up like a front line like here, so a little bit further on, let him come on to me, and my ships could have reinforced a little bit more effectively. Maybe I could have rushed forward to like defend the beaches. That would have been actually probably my best strategy would have been to like set up a defensive line as soon as the battle started and I saw him coming on behind me, like right here, and just have the sea to my back and be like, Darren, if you want to attack me, be my guest, but my reinforcements are going to come on and I attacked you, so if I was you, I would hold up. That probably would have been a great setup, honestly, going into the battle. And you can see like my army did so good. We were actually outnumbered by a lot more than I thought. Yeah, that's pretty scary. Actually, no, maybe that's about what I said, 2,500, and then a lot more without my reinforcements. My reinforcements accounted for like, 1,600, 1,800 of my men, so yeah, it was a pretty brutal battle, and you can see the deadliness of this unit. He had a handful, I think he had 2 more in the town garrison as well, so this was a pretty brutal army, but a great battle. And again, a bunch of these swords are pretty good as well. This was really one of my first times fighting these guys, but it was just brutal. This is one of the problems of DEI, and if you lose a battle like this, things just become very, very dangerous, because all of a sudden now, we are in a very, very sticky situation in Arabia. Things are not looking good. But we're going to have to reinforce. I want Arabia. I need the cities, so we're going to keep on pushing. I'm going to have one final crack at Arabia, and if we don't take it in this one, then we just don't take it and we just give up. But we'll have to see what goes down. So guys, if you do enjoy this, make sure to drop a like and a comment down below. Make sure to tune in every single Wednesday. Consider supporting me on Patreon and becoming a YouTube member, and I'll see you guys in the next one.